This conference will now be recorded.
All right, let's start with the class. Okay, before I start, anyone is having any questions from the last class?
No, sir.
Any doubts? Okay, let me share my screen now. And let me know once it's visible.
Yes, it's visible now.
All right, so in the last class, we have learned about if-else clause. And today we are going to start with case statement. Okay, so let's see what is case structure. So this is a case statement. Let's understand the basic fundamentals of a case statement. A case statement will always be bundled with select statement. Okay. Now, after select, we can print anything. Like let's say we want to select case 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, right? Anything we can print like this. So, I mean, we can print a particular thing depending on many situations, right? Like we did in the last class for if-else clause, we may print a child, teenage, young, old, very old, like this, right? So there could be multiple cases, and depending on that, we'll be selecting our choice, right? So let's say instead of giving the value right away here, we can write case statement like this. So select case for case 1, this would be the output. For case 2, this will be the output too, and so on. Okay. Now, once the the case is end, we need to end it with end clause. Okay. So that's the block for a case statement. So it will start with case and it will end with end. Okay. And within the case, what are the statements we are going to have? So we are going to have a condition, and depending on the condition, we are going to print it. So like if else clause, it's going to select only one case, okay, and once the one case is selected, it will skip all other cases and it will simply put that particular case in front of the select statement. Okay, that will give the output. Okay, so instead of putting the output right after select, we can put the operations within the case block, and depending on the Boolean expression, the output would be selected. Okay, that is the basic structure. Now let's see in practicals. Select case. So I have declared a variable called a, okay, and assigned the value 3. Now select case when a is equals to 1, then the value is 1. Or instead of that, we can type if a is less than 10, we can print child. Okay, if a is greater than 10 and a is less than 40, we can print young. If a is greater than 40, if a is greater than equals to 40 and a is less than 60, we are going to print middle age. And in the else block, I mean, if it's not following any one of these clause, then it will print old. So this could be one case statement. So instead of putting it under if else, if we just want to perform select operation, we can do the same thing like if else using case statement. Okay, so here the value of a is 3. If a is less than 10, it will print child. If a is greater than 10 and less than 40, it will print young. For this case, it will print middle age. For rest of the case, if the case is not getting matched with any one of these three, then by default it will execute this one. So if I execute this now, it will show child. Why? Because the value of a is 3, 3 is less than 10, true, then it's child, right? So from the entire case statement, which portion would be selected? This portion will be selected. So the ultimate output would be select child, or the case that has been selected. Okay. Now let's say the value of a is 22. It will print young. Why? 22 less than 10 is not true. 22 greater than equals to 10 is true. 20 less than 40 is true. So this is the output that is going to be come from the entire case statement. So the select statement that it's going to construct is this, right? So that is why we are going to see young for 22. In the same way, if it is 62, then it will not fall any of these statement, and by default it will go to this. So that's the output. So anyone having questions from the case statement?
Devabrata,
Yes,
when
sir, I
we
have a
have,
question.
Go ahead.
Sir,
What are you?
yeah,
I didn't get, sir, this one. And how to use this syntax, sir. Could you explain once again?
All right, I'll explain. Who's next?
yeah, I was
Anyone
asking,
else?
Yeah, I was asking when we have this if and else declaration, then why we are using this case? I mean, what is the difference between the two? Both are same.
So for if and else, if condition begin end. It's not necessary within this block you need to perform select operation. You can perform select, insert, update, delete, or any logical operation. But if the clause is only restricted within select, then you have
Mm,
this option case.
okay, okay.
Is it clear? Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go through about the case statement one more time. So what is the case statement? Structure is select, then case when this is my condition, then this is the output. Okay, if this condition is true, then this output is going to be selected. If this condition is true, then this output is going to be selected. When this condition is true, then this string will be selected. If none of the condition is true, else this one would be selected. And once it's getting reached to end block, that means it's the end of the case structure. So a case can have one or multiple conditions, and it must have a else statement as well. So
Devabrata,
is it clear,
sorry.
everyone? Yeah, tell me.
Okay. I have put here in chats another formula. Like I'm getting same results. So is that something missing out? Like, or is that correct?
All right.
Like, is it mandatory to put the specific ones?
So if a is less than 10, then
Yeah.
child. If
Yeah.
a is less than 40, then young. If a is
Hmm.
less than 60, then middle age. If
Hmm.
else,
Else.
it's old. So let's talk about 60,
Hmm.
old.
So is
So
it correct?
let's talk about 59, middle age. Let's talk about 5, right? So
Hmm.
5 is less than 10, true.
Hmm. Hmm.
If the age is, let's say, 10 or 12, so 12 less than 10 is not true. 12
Hmm.
less than 40 is true. So it's going to print young, right? So this is true. So
Okay.
what I
Got it.
have used is a greater than symbol and a less than symbol combination so that I can give within a bracket. But you have
Hmm.
done only this, so that is also satisfying the same logic. So yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So any questions from anyone regarding case statement?
Debabrata, in Saurabh's case, he has given the less sign. If we want to see for the clause 10, integer 10, then will it print?
For 10.
Yeah, for
So
10.
for 10, it will show young because this condition is not satisfying. So it will fall into this
Because
condition.
it's less than, because
Okay,
it's
it
less
is.
than 10, no? That's why it's not falling with that condition. It's falling with
So
40
if
condition.
it's less than equals to, then it could have
Then it will follow that.
fallen.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's clear to everyone. So let's take an example of Zomato. Okay, what is this? In this example, what we do, let's say we have different order status. Okay, order status could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the order status is getting updated from the application, Zomato application. So whenever you placed an order, the order status is updated to 1. That means when you are checking, the status is order placed. Then after some time, the status got updated by the restaurant, that is 2. So when you are checking from home, it's showing preparing. So after some time, restaurant updated that status to 3, out for delivery. So when you are checking, what is the status? Out for delivery. After some time, your delivery man delivered it to your home, and you're checking that it's the status of delivered. In between, you can cancel the order as well. So the status would be updated to 5. So it would be order cancelled, right? So by default, let's say 0, the status would be yet to receive the order. So this is one real life example that we can see for case study or case structure. Is it clear?
So, Devavrata, here in this case function, is it possible to give logical expressions as well, or is it only this simple operations like select?
It would be only select. So case operation happens only on select.
Okay, okay. Okay. Like not like in if we can give any logical condition, not like that
No,
here, right?
no, not like that.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So let's understand about a new function called as if exist. So this is a query. This query is giving us a output. Select star from person where business entity ID is 1. So this query is giving us a output. What is the meaning of that? There is an output existing for this query, right? So if we are saying there is an output existing for this query, we can check this particular thing by using a function called exists. What exist function will check is whatever query we have written within exist function. If the query is returning something, okay, then exist function will return true. Exist query, that means the query is existing or there is an output that is existing for this query. Okay, so if this query within the exist function is returning any row, then exist function will return true. So if it is true, it is going to print. If this is not true, then it's going to print this, right? So we can print uh, there is a row in the exist query, or we can print there is no row in the exist query, right? For else block. So if this is existing, that means if I run the query as a whole, this exist function will return true and it will print this, right? So if I execute, there is a row in the exist query. Now let's check for 0. No row is present. So if I run this query now, there is no row in the exist query. That means as there is nothing in the query output, this exist function will return false. So this block will skip and it will execute this block. Now, if someone from you guys is wondering where is the begin and end block of if clause, right? So we can put begin and end block around the query. Okay. Now the question is, then how come it was executing fine without the begin and end clause? So it was executing fine because there was only one statement. So let me tell you, this is a query. This is also executing fine like previous. Now what was the condition where we can skip the begin and end? The condition is if within the if block we are executing only one statement, then we can skip begin and end, because if we skip, then the else block will consider the very first statement after the else block as its block query. Okay, so if we are not writing begin and end, then it will consider this thing as a block, and as we didn't write begin and end, this will consider this query as its block. If we are having multiple query, then it will throw an error. Let's say print check. Okay, then it's going to throw an error. If we are skipping this, then it will run fine because it will consider this as a begin and end, this as a begin and end. Now when it will not throw an error for multiple cases, if we wrap it around begin and end, then it will not throw an error. So then it executed both the query. Is it clear? Is
But
it clear about the exist?
do we use this function in normal life? Because I don't think there's any use for this.
There are plenty of use for it.
Is it?
Okay. Yeah. So let me give you a scenario. Let's say you want to insert a row in person table. Okay. For a particular business entity ID. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, what is the first thing you need to check?
I can just do select all from that table where business entity ID is that. Correct. Like the
Right.
condition.
So this is what you can check.
Hmm. Yeah.
Select everything from person table where business entity ID is one. If
Hmm.
this is true, or if that particular business entity ID is existing in the table, then
Hmm.
you can skip the insert statement. So insert
Hmm.
statement skipped, right? If it is not existing, then you can perform a insert statement in the else block, right?
Hmm.
In that case, so here insert statement skipped because you have an entry with that particular business entity ID. So you cannot insert one more row with the same business entity ID, right? So that is why you have used the exist function and you have skipped the insert statement, because insert statement skipped because row existing.
Correct, but
right?
what's the use of this function? Because if I anyways run that above and select till one, the first line, I'm getting the
Mhm.
result here, right? So I can see that and decide yes or no.
No, you need to write down a program and you need to write down the logic. If it's
Oh,
not present, then you will insert. So you're not going to manually check that it's there or not. Then you are not going to take a decision. The program needs to take the decision, right? So
okay,
you
okay.
are
That
executing
mhm.
this query, and now you are taking the decision. But you need to implement the same logic in the program, right?
Got it, got it.
So there we have exist function. Now we can do the exact reverse of it by using not exist function. Okay. So not exist function will return true if this one is having empty. So this one is not empty. That means this one will return false. If this one is empty, then it will return true. So not exist true. Else it will print not exist false. Let's say here in the output we don't have anything. That means not exist will be true or false.
It will be true.
True.
Because the inner query is not having anything, right? So that is why not exist should be true. So if I run the query, not exist true. So this one executed. Now if this one is having some output, that means not exist will be false. So this one will be executed. Not exist false. So we have both the functions exist and not exist. So we can choose the function depending on our logic. So is it clear to everyone?
Sir, could you repeat the non-access function? Could you explain again?
Not exist function.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the opposite of exist function. If you have any, sorry, if you have any output, then so this is existing, right? And
Yeah.
here we are checking not existing. So
Okay.
not existing some value means what? This one is not true, because not exist will be true if this query is not having anything. Not exist this query. That means this query doesn't have any output, or the query output doesn't exist. Then not query will be true. Not exist will be true. But here this query is having some output, right? So in that
Yeah.
case, not exist would be true or false.
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 So if I run this, not exist false. Now, if this query is not having an output,
Then it should be true.
right? So not exist would be true or false.
True.
True.
True. So not exist true. Is it clear, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear.
So this is the not exist function. All right. So let's learn about concat operation. So what is concat operation? Concat operation means I have a string, select one and select two. So if I run this, one and two would be selected. Now if I want to select 1 2, together 1 comma 2. What would be the case? Select 1 comma, right? So then 1 comma 2 will be selected. Now what if I want to do this like this, declare where 10 as 1, declare the A as varchar 1, and at the B varchar 10 as, right? Now I want to see 1 1 2, 1 space 2 or 1 comma 2, whatever it is. So how I can do? I can select at that A, I can select at that B. Can I select at the rate A comma at the rate B?
No, I think we should use at the rate A concat at the rate B.
So here you can see if I select like this, it will show in two different grids or two different cells, right? But we want in a single cell. Then what we need to do is we need to perform the concat operator. That is this. So if I give this, let me show you what would be the output for A and B, and then this. Okay. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 1, 2, and if we perform the concat operation, this will show in one line as a single string. Okay. All right. So how it happened? It happened using this concat operation. So in the same way, if we want to print, select at the rate A, my concat operator, then I want to put a comma, then concat operator, then at the rate B. Will it work?
Yes, it should work.
Yes, it
So
work.
it will give us a output like this. So this string is 1, this one, then concat operator with this character, right? So this character we have done it hard coded, right? And then we have B, that is this character. So that is how we get 1 comma 2. We can give a space after comma, that will give us a space after 1 comma 2. So this operator is called as concat operator. Is it
So
clear,
is it
guys?
same as addition, like when there are numerical digits over there? Will it add up or will it show like this?
No, it will simply merge both the strings. Okay. Now here is the confusion. If we
Hmm.
perform select 1 plus 2,
Hmm.
it will give us a output 3. Now at the same time, if we write select
At the rate 1, 2.
1 plus 2,
That is a different thing. No? You convert it to words.
so then it will give us this output. Then what is the role of this operator? Is it a arithmetic addition operator or a string concat operator? What is the role of this operator?
When
Any
we are
guess?
using
Not
when we are
sure.
using integer type, that time it's work as a sum operator, and when we are using string type, just like one alphabetic, it work as a concat operator.
Exactly.
Right?
So the functionality of this operator depends on the provided inputs. If it's integer, then it will work as a sum. If it's character, then it will work as concat. Now, what if I perform 1 plus 2? What would be the output? Any idea?
One two.
Nothing to add, so it will be same 1 2.
Conversion fail when
Alright.
converting the varchar value 1 to data type int.
Okay.
So this
Okay.
operator is getting confused. Which
because we are
function
using
it should
integer
perform?
and string too.
So this
Okay.
operator is getting confused which type of function it should perform,
So
right?
now, if you go to the top, that where you have written the variables at the rate a worker 10 equals 1 in the inverted comma.
Mhm,
If you make
mhm.
it just one numerical one and that 2 as numerical 2, because it is a variable character, so will it still add up or
Yeah,
it will
even
1
I
comma
was
2?
about to say, can we declare at the a variable integer as one?
Like keep
So
it
this
as
is what you guys are thinking.
no. My thing is that integer you change, right? For 2,
So this
keep
A
it as 1.
is character type and B is integer type, right?
No,
And we are
can we keep
performing the
the
same functions.
can we keep it as
No, no,
character type then
yeah,
put
he
2?
mean to say that at the rate of one, and whereas we are using character type, we have to use one integer type. That's the sort of na.
Is it possible? Like we are like specifying it as variable
I'm
character
I'm
and
doing
still getting.
I'm doing the same thing. One variable as character and one variable as integer. And then we are performing these operations, right? That is your
No,
question, right?
no,
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 no.
no. I mean, I guess he's asking both the variables as integers, one and two.
No, no, he's asking for a var cap, a character type. Character type
See,
10 equal to 1. That should be 1, integer 1.
huh.
No,
And
that's
at the
not
rate
possible,
b,
no?
See, okay, general question. See, variable character 10 you have mentioned, right? Can we put
Hmm.
the same and give equals to one numerical one? Is it possible?
Like this.
Correct. And the second
yes.
also 2. So will it still add up?
Let's see. Conversion fail when converting the varchar 1 to data type int. So 1 got assigned to varchar variable. Okay.
Okay.
So it did not added 1. It did not took 1 as an integer because the data type is varchar. So it took this value as like this. Okay. So it took the
Okay.
value like this, or and took this value as a character because the data type of the variable is varchar, and then
So
it's
now,
trying to, yeah, tell me.
now okay, now it's working. Acha. So for variable character, if we are giving digits, numericals, then we need to add the codes. Like if in case.
Yes,
Acha.
yes. So the question is, it could happen that we need to merge a character with an integer.
Hmm. Yes.
It could very much happen, right? So what would be the
Debabrata,
solution? Yeah, tell me.
yeah, I was asking if we declare both the variables as integer 1 and 2, will it work?
Integer 1 and 2, it will work, no issues,
Okay,
We need to give
except
the
this,
code.
except this one. Okay.
okay.
Now the question is, then what if, so if I try to run this code, if I try to run this code, it will throw an error, unable to convert the data type, right? So it's trying to convert one data type into another data type. So it's trying to convert this data type into integer for this operation, because for this operation A is 1 and B is 2, this, right? That is where it's getting the error. Now what we can do, if we run this thing, if we run this, it will execute very fine, because now this is a string and this one is also a string, because we have put it under single quotes. So it will take this as a string, not an integer. Is it clear?
Yes, very much clear.
Now the difference between select one and select one, it is clear to everyone. What is the difference between select one and select one? This one
Hmm.
is a integer output, this one is a character output. All right.
Yes, yeah. If we are putting
Now the
underscore any character, any number, it will come into characters, na?
yes. Now the question is, what if we have a situation like this? We have one variable as varchar or character and one variable as integer. Then how can we merge this kind of situation? Then to do that, we need to perform, we need to convert this as a character. That means we need to perform this to this. So we should perform, so the value is this because it's integer. The value is this. Now we need to convert it to character because the other part is character. So we need to either make it to integer or either make it to character. Can we convert this string into integer value? No, because
No.
character ONE doesn't have any equivalent integer value. But this we can convert into character by simply putting double quotes in the front and back, right? Or in simple words, we can convert it into character. How can we do it using a SQL function? Because we cannot manually put quotes, right? So we can convert the data type using a SQL function called convert. Okay, convert this as, let's say, varchar 10. Then we are giving the variable that we want to convert. So this was our input. Instead of this, we have wrapped it under a convert function, which will convert this integer variable into this varchar 10 data type. So now if I run this query, you can see 1 is A, 2 is B. Then I print one string and two integer using this. Now when I'm using this, select 1 is the character, then this convert function is converting B into character B and performing the concat operation. So 1 and then character 2 concatenated, then it became 1 2. We can perform the same thing for this operator as well. So convert this as varchar 10 comma the variable that we need to convert. Now if we run this, we can see the output. Is it clear to everyone about the convert function?
Hmm.
All right. Any questions from anyone regarding the convert function?
One question, say that row number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's take 5. Row number 5, where you have written convert varchar 10. Okay. Instead of that, is it possible to write @b variable inside quotes and will it work?
Sorry,
Um,
at the B.
At the rate B inside quotes. Only that one. Will it work?
Question.
Yeah. Now will it work?
Let's see what would be the output. So the output would be this. So
Okay. So
the
that
output would be
became
this. Why? Because the entire thing it took as a string.
got it.
So if we are putting it under single quotes, whatever there within the single quotes, it will take it as a string. So it will not take this as a variable. It will take this
Hmm.
as a string.
Okay, got it.
So is it clear about convert function, everyone?
Yes.
Now we have another function which will perform exactly same like convert. The function is cast. There is only the syntax is only different. The functionality is exactly the same. So we need to write cast a variable that we want to change as varchar. So here is our convert function. Here is our cast function. Both work exactly the same. Okay. So the cast function syntax is first is the variable, then as the target data type. And for convert, the syntax is the target data type, comma, the variable that we want to convert. So we have two functions to convert a value or a variable into a different data type. Two functions are cast and convert. Is it clear, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, clear.
Right. All right. The next one is example. So example I've shown. There are a couple more examples that you can see. All right. So this is one example case. So let's see this case example. That is interesting. Guys, I am performing a select operation on this table. So can you guys tell me what would be the output of this case statement? This is the output of the table, and I'm using the table for constructing this case statement. So can you tell me what would be the output or what is the logic behind the case statement? So I'll give you guys 5 minutes to analyze this query, and I'll ask the output or the understanding after 5 minutes.
So basically it's taking address type ID and giving us the different type of addresses. Billing, home, main office, primary, shipping,
So when
archive.
we are running this statement, we have a address type ID. So
Hmm.
what we have done in the case statement is select from table name. Select from table name. So what we are selecting under case, we are selecting address type. So select address type equals to 1. If address type is equals to 1, it will print billing address. If so, this address type it's selecting from where? From this table. So in this table we have a column called address type ID, right? So it's performing the matching for every row. So it's getting the first row, address type ID is equals to 1. So this one is matching, so it is going to print billing address. Like, so if I run this query, it's going to show this. Now, can we add a new column to this case statement? Yes, we can. We can print one more column, comma, and the entire case statement will work as the next column name. So case this, it will give us one row or one value. So this will be the output. Then we can perform order by address type ID. So the output would be this. So please try to understand this query and let me know for any questions. So the entire case statement work as a single column. Okay. Why? Because for every row, select from table name. So first row is selected. Select address type ID. So address type ID will be selected. And next, from this case statement, only one value will be selected. For address type ID 1 equals to 1 true, this value is selected. For the second row, 2 is equals to 2, this value is selected. For 3, this one is true, this value would be selected, right? So for every row, only one output will occur from this. So entire case statement is giving me only one output for every row. So when we are running the entire thing, it's giving us this column and then this preparation of the column. So 1 billing address, 2 home address, 3 main office address, and so on. And it's ordering the entire row by address type ID. So it's by default ascending. So we can simply type ascending, or we can keep it default as ascending as well. So please understand this query and let me know for any questions. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes to analyze the query.
Good. From person dot address type. Mhm.
So is it clear, guys, or anyone having any questions on this query?
Yes, clear, but we are selecting that select address type ID and we are using case, and
Mhm.
we are calling it from person dot address type, and we are putting clause order by address type. And what is that select
After the
address type
case
ID?
also, you can give another column name. Let's say modify date. So it will be like this column got selected, this this column got selected, this and this column. So the middle column you are preparing using this case statement.
Okay.
So it is a little tricky to understand. So that is why I want to give you some time to understand and let me know for any doubts.
So Devabrata, this adding new column in the end you did now, just now, that can be done for
Mhm.
any kind of function, even if else or whatever like we use. It can be done for any kind of function like this.
No, that is possible only in the case statement. So that is the flexibility of case statement. Because for case, we are only performing select operation, right? So for select
Hmm.
operation, we can add any column. So the case statement is doing what? Case statement is giving you a particular value for a particular output for a particular value, right?
Hmm.
So for when we are running this statement, select from address type. So it's taking one row at a time. So when it's taking the first row, it's printing address type ID like this. Then it's taking that address type ID to run the case statement. And in the case statement for address type ID 1, it's getting only one output. That is this, right?
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then next it's taking this column
Modify.
from the table. That is this.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
same thing is repeating for the second row and so on.
And if we put address type ID in the place of modifier date, will it work?
Address type ID in modified date.
It should work, no?
So you can put modified date how many times you want.
Yes.
It will simply keep on repeating the value.
No, no, I don't mean to say that. Yeah, that's like modify.
So when you are running this select column, simply select column name from table name. That is what it's running, right? The only difference is in the select statement, you are preparing a column using the case statement.
You mean to say that select operation
Let's
that's
say,
like
let's hold on. Let's say I'm running only this. I'm running only this. So it's doing what? It's giving me an output column, right? It's giving me a column as an output, right?
uh,
So how it got this value? Can anyone tell me how it got this value for the first
yes,
row?
because we are calling from person dot address type.
The person dot address type, the first row is what? The first row it's getting, let's say, let's order by this. Okay. So first row it's getting billing address. Sorry, the first row it's getting address type ID 1, right? So for the first address type ID, it's going into the case statement. Address type ID equals to 1, it got matched. That is why it's printing this. So when we are calling this from a table, it's having all the columns. Likewise, this is what? Is this a variable or anything? So this is simply a column from this table, right?
Yes,
Yes or no? So as
yes,
this
yes.
is a column from this table and we are using the column for this case, so we can simply print the column in the select statement as well.
Hmm. Yes, got
This
it.
case statement will give us a preparation of a new column, or it is basically a manipulative column, right? that we are getting using the case statement. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear for everyone?
Sir, can we replace the column name? Is it possible?
Which column name? This
Means
column name?
yeah, the second one, sir.
Yeah, we can replace it. That depends on your logic of doing the comparison. So if you want to do a comparison with name, then you can simply put name. If name equals to, let's say, billing, then you are going to type billing address, right? So let's run the
Okay.
query. So when you are writing select star from table name, you are having all the column values for a row, right? So it's taking one
Okay.
row at a time. So you have all the values of a column. So you have all the values of the column for that particular row. So you can utilize these columns here, no issues. You can utilize the column here as well, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So is it clear for everyone? All right. So next we are going to learn about loop. So every programming language has a loop, right? So SQL Server programming language also have a loop statement or a way to perform loop in the programming. Hmm. What is a simple structure? The simple structure is while is the syntax. Then we'll be having a Boolean expression. And then we are going to have begin statement, end statement. That will represent the block of code like if else. And here we can write SQL statements. Right? So this is a simple structure of a while loop. So this expression could be anything like at the a less than 20 or anything, any type of Boolean expression, right? So like if else block, while Boolean expression, begin, end, then my SQL statement. Now the SQL statement within the block will keep on executing till this expression is true. Okay, till this expression is true, this block will keep on executing. Now we need to understand one thing. We need to make some changes within the block so that this expression get false after some time. If this expression is not getting false after some time, this loop will keep on executing forever. So that will be an infinite loop. Infinite loop means the loop is going on forever for infinite amount of time. So that will put your system into hang state. All right, because it is going into loop forever. So you need to make sure you are doing some manipulation within the loop so that this expression is getting false after some time. So this is the simple structure of while loop. So let's see in a practical. So I'm declaring a variable called counter and assigning a value 1 to it. Okay, counter value is 1. Now what is my while condition? So I'll keep on checking counter less than equals to 10. So currently it's 1 less than equals to 10, right? So I'll keep on checking counter less than equals to 10. Then begin and end. That means this is my while loop block, or this is my while block. So this block will keep on executing till this expression is true. So within this block, what we are doing, we are printing the counter value. So the counter value is counter. So is this line clear to everyone, that why we have performed this convert function? So this counter variable is integer type, and we are trying to combine or concat the string with the integer counter value, right? That is why we need to convert the integer counter value to varchar so that we can perform the concat operation. Is it clear to everyone about this line?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So this line is clear, right? So we are doing what? We are printing the current counter value, and then we are increasing the counter value by 1. So set counter equals to counter plus 1. So whatever the counter value is, we are increasing it by 1 and assigning to the same variable again. So once this is done, once the while loop is over, then it's going to print out of while loop with counter value the current counter value. Okay, so let's see how the program is working. So counter value is 1, it will come here while 1 is less than equals to 10. True. So 1 counter value is 1, 1 less than equals to 10 is true. So it will go in the while loop block. So it will print the statement the counter value is, what is the counter value? 1. So it will print the counter value is 1. Then it will increase the counter value by 1. So counter value will become 2 now. So after it will reach to end block. So again it will go here because the counter value, the loop will go on till this is true, right? So again it will check here. Now counter value is 2, 2 less than equals to 10, true. It will go into this block, print the counter value is 2, increase the counter value by 1 to 3. Again, end of while loop, it will go to check this, 3 less than equals to 10, same true, it will go into the while loop. It will run till counter value is 10. So counter equals to counter plus 1. So counter value is 10, it will become counter value will become 11. So it will again come here, 11 is less than equals to 10, false. So once this is false, it will skip the while block. So it will go out of the loop. Okay, it will go out of the loop, it will skip the loop block, and it will come here. And here it will print what? Out of while loop with counter value. What is the counter value? 11. So this is my entire program. So if I run this code, counter value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the loop. Okay, and for 11 it came here, checked. So the counter value is 10 for this line. Okay, for counter value 10 it is true, it came here, it printed the counter value is 10, then it increased the counter value as 11, came here, 11 less than equals to 10, false, then it came here and printed this line. So is it clear about while loop?
Yes.
Clear.
Please read out this code and let me know. So the functionality of the code is clear to everyone. Now if I ask you guys how to create an infinite loop, create an infinite loop while this begin, let's say print infinite loop. Now, which condition we should give here so that this loop becomes infinite? Any idea? We should give a condition which is true forever. 1 equals to 1.
Greater than,
Yeah,
Is it true forever?
yeah,
1 less than 2. Is it true forever?
That's true.
1 greater than
Yes, sir.
0. Is it true forever? So this value is something which is not changing over time. So if you check our code, this code, there was a variable and we were increasing the variable so that this condition get false after a time. So we need to make sure we are using a expression here which is changing in nature. But if we hard code this condition, that is not going to change for any point of time. So it's going to be true forever. So that is why it will create an infinite loop. So it will come here, it will check this condition true, it will print this, again it will check this condition true, still going on.
So can you run this and show?
Yeah, see. So query is
Oh,
executing. Time is increasing, query is keeping on executing. You can see the scroller here. So it's increasing like anything.
how do we
Okay.
stop this?
So we need to stop this manually. Okay. We need to cancel
Uh,
this query by clicking on this red button. And then if we scroll down, the query was cancelled by user. Okay.
Okay.
Now, next question. How can we make this program as an infinite loop?
We'll remove that set
maybe don't give
counter.
condition. Set counter equals, don't increment.
So if we skip this line, the counter value would be 1. It would be 1 less than equals to 10. And we are not changing the counter variable here. So 1 less than equals to 10 is true forever. So it will keep on executing for the counter value 1. So the counter value is not increasing, right? So we need to stop it manually again. And we can see counter value is 1. The query is cancelled by user. So we need to make sure that we are working on the increment or decrement, whatever depending on our logic, so that this clause is getting false after a finite amount of time. Is it clear to everyone? This is very important when we are writing a while statement. Is this clear, guys?
Yes, clear.
Yes, sir.
So let's understand one more point. How we can get out of the loop. What are the different ways we can get out of the loop? One way is this expression will be false. We have one more option. This is called break. So we can use break statement only within a while loop. And this statement will help us to get out of the loop without checking this. So when we get out of the loop, once we check this condition and this condition becomes false, we have another option to get out of the loop without checking this condition, and the command is break. So whenever we get a break command, it will simply put the logic out of the loop. It will not go to anywhere. It will not execute anything further. A break statement will simply find the end of the while loop and it will put the logic after the end block. So if I put a break statement here, what will be the output? Counter value 1, 1 less than equals to 10 true. It will execute this line. It will increase the counter value as 2 and it will find break. It will put the logic here. It will print out of while loop with counter value 2. So if I run it, counter value is 1 because of this. Then counter value got increased to 2. Then it got the break statement, put the logic out of the while loop and print the out of while loop with counter value 2, this line. So break statement will help you to get the logic or the program flow out of the while loop without even checking this expression. Now what if I put the break statement at the very beginning? Counter value 1, 1 less than equals to 10 true. Break statement, so it will simply put the logic here and it will put print out of while loop with counter value 1. So if I run this, out of while loop with counter value 1. What will happen if I put the break statement or break command here? 1 less than equals to 10 true. It will print the counter value is 1. It will get the break statement. It will get out of the loop and print out of while loop with counter value 1. So is it clear about the break statement? Guys, is it clear about the break statement?
But here it is a manual break, right? Like we are putting the function break only, then it will stop.
Yes, it's a manual break.
Acha. Then what's the use? It will be used only while programming the code, right? It won't be used in the program, I guess.
So let's say in the while loop, you are performing some update operation on the table, okay? And you
Mm.
find that you don't need that update operation. So you are putting a if clause, if condition, that means you don't need to perform the update operation. So if this condition is true, you are simply putting a break statement. In while loop, if you get a condition where you don't need the loop itself, right? So within a loop, you can put a if condition and put the break statement within the loop, within the if condition. So whenever this if condition will be true, it will simply put the logic out of the while loop. If you find that you don't need the while loop, so there is no point looping in the while loop. So you can simply put the logic out of the loop using break statement. So I have an example for that as well.
Okay.
This is an example. Let's say counter less than equals to 5. All right, this is not the example. This is the example. Counter less than equals to 5. It's printing. So let's say I have a clause. If counter is equals to 4, then begin. So I have a if clause within the while loop. If counter value equals to 4, begin, print, found break, then break statement. So the loop will keep on running for counter value 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever it's finding the counter value 4, this if condition is getting satisfied. It's getting into the if statement and it is finding the break statement. So that will put the logic out of the while loop. So if I run this, see 1, 2, 3, 4, it got executed for this one and the if clause was false for 1, 2, 3. For 4, it printed this, and then this if clause was successful or true. Then it executed this one, found break, and then it put the logic out of the while loop. So it printed out of while loop with counter value 4.
So
So we can utilize, yeah,
let's change
tell me.
that counter equals to maybe 2 or 3.
It will execute
Any,
for 2 times.
okay, okay, fine, got it.
Is it clear, guys?
Yeah,
Is
and
it
there's
clear
no
how we can utilize if statement within loop as well? So
option
we can
to
perform mix and match. Yeah, tell me.
resume automatically, right? Like after the break, it will stop completely.
So we have another option that is called as continue.
Oh,
So we'll learn about it. But is it clear to everyone, or
yes.
anyone is having doubts?
So it is clear, but I need to practice.
Yeah, that's for sure. Everyone needs to practice. So that's true for everyone in the class. All right. So let's learn about continue.
There, brother, what was the spelling for break? BRAKE or BREAK?
BREAK.
Okay.
So let's consider this loop where we are printing it, we are increasing it, and then we are putting a command called continue. And after that, we are giving one more print statement. So what continue will do, continue will skip whatever command is there after continue, okay, and continue will put the program logic at the very beginning of the while loop. So the opposite that break does, break skipped whatever is there after break and put the logic end of the while loop, and continue will also skip whatever program or whatever code is there after continue, and instead of putting the code logic at the end of the loop, it will put the code logic at the beginning of the loop. Okay, so what it will do, it will never reach this line. For counter value 1, it will print this, counter value will increase to 2, it will get continue. So instead of executing this line, it will go to here, 2 less than equals to 5. It will print 2, increase to 3, it will get continue. Again, it will put the logic here. So till 5, it will continue, and then it will get continue. So 5 plus 1, 6, it will get continue. It will go to the logic here. Then 6 less than equals to 5, false, it will come here. So this line will be skipped in the code because we have continue at the beginning of the code. So if I run this, you can see it's like we don't have this two line, right? So even if we are putting this two line, it's working exactly the same. Now what is the point? What is the point of putting continue then? Let's see it with an example. So is the flow clear of continue? The flow of continue is clear to everyone?
Yes, clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In simple words, instead of putting the logic at the end, it is putting the logic at the beginning. Okay. Now let's see with an example. What if we put continue at the middle? So it will increase the counter value, but it will not print the counter value. So it will only print if it's out of the while loop, because this statement is getting skipped. What if we put the continue here at the very beginning? What will happen? Anyone? Any idea?
Infinite loop.
It will not print anything.
It will be an infinite loop.
Instant loop. Because there is no
So,
incrementation.
this two statement is getting skipped always,
Mm.
right? So as this two statement is getting skipped always because we have continue at the beginning. So counter value is not getting increased, right? So that would be infinite loop forever. It is not printing anything. It's not going out of the loop. So it's keep on executing without showing anything, right? So we need to stop it manually. Then we are good. So continue is a statement which will skip whatever after the continue. Now, where we can utilize continue? That's the question. Let's say within a while loop, you have a if clause. If row exists, then if the row is existing, then we are not performing anything because that particular row is existing. Then what we can do? We can simply put a continue. Why? If row is existing, we are not doing anything. We are simply putting the logic for the next iteration, right? So if there is a row existing or whatever we are trying to do, we don't have to do it. So instead of performing anything, we can simply put continue. That will put the logic for the next one, for the next row. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So we have something to do in the while loop, right? So maybe we have something to do for 100 rows. Let's say the program logic, we don't have to do anything for a particular row. And that check we have given in a if clause. So if we don't have to do for a particular row, then we can simply put a continue that will skip the rest of the operation for that particular row and put the logic at the beginning of the while loop. Very simple, right?
Yes.
So that's one of the use case of continue. All right. Okay. So this is how we can create a while loop. Mm,
Could you repeat the previous explanation, Debabrata?
yeah, which one? Continue.
Yes, yes.
All right. So suppose you have 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5 rows. For row number 3, no action required. And you are going on a loop for row number 1 to 5. But for row number 3, you should not perform the operation whatever you are performing for other rows. So what you can do? If row number equals to 3, then continue. It will do what? Whenever it's getting row number 3, it will find the command continue and it will skip whatever command it need to execute and it will put the logic for the next row, row number 4.
Okay, got it, Debabrata. Thank you.
All right. So do you guys have the understanding of performing a factorial? What is a factorial?
You mean the max functions?
In the math, if we tell you to find the factorial of 5, what you will do?
It is
How
Uh,
5
you will
into 4
calculate?
into 3. into 2 into
Uh,
1.
5
one
into
is
4 into 3
two
into
into
2
three.
into 1.
2 into 1.
That is how you are going to find a factorial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this example or in this problem or in this requirement, it's very clear you need to perform a loop. So I asked you to write a program to find the factorial of a given input. Okay. So let's say the input would be declare at the rate factorial integer equals to some value we are going to give, right? Then next we are going to perform a while loop. Within the while loop, we are going to run something using which we can perform this operation. So here we need to write a code so that we can find the factorial of this, right? We need to write the while loop clause in a way so it will keep on doing the iteration for these many times. And once the factorial is done, we need to show the output, print output, factorial output. Right? So here we would be requiring one more variable, output variable. Begin. So this variable we are assigning to 1, let's say. Okay. So this variable will do what? This variable will keep the intermediate value of the factorial because we are doing 5 into 4 for the first loop. So we need to store this value to somewhere, right? So we are going to store it in the output variable. Then next loop we are going to, with output value, we are going to multiply with 3 and storing it to output variable. Then with the value of output variable, we are multiplying with 2 and storing in the output variable. And after the operation is done, we are going to print the factorial output variable. So that is the entire logic of the code. Is the logic clear to everyone? Is there any gap in the logic? Guys, is the logic of factorial is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So please write down a code to perform the factorial of a given value. So the value we are going to give here, let's say 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, whatever the value we want. So you basically need to perform this while loop. Okay. So I'll give you 10 minutes to perform or write the code for this while loop. Okay. Or write down the code of factorial. So the logic is given, all the necessary syntax we have learned. So please write down the code. If the code is incomplete, no issues. I'm going to help you guys to complete it. But I want you guys to start writing the code. because you guys need to think how a logic can be implemented, and you guys need to write down the code by yourself. So I'll give you 10 minutes to attempt for this development, and I'll catch you guys after 10 minutes.
Sir, I've sent you the code.
All right, I'll be reviewing the code in a moment. Let's wait for others to finish. Time is up. So I got a output, or I got a code from Aryan. Who else? Who else? Anyone else? All right. Let me try to write down the code for you
I'm
guys.
trying.
You're trying?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Okay. I got a code from Raju. This one is giving an error. Okay. Let's have another 5 minutes of trying. Then I'll discuss the solution.
One input custom. You can go through because it was not executing.
All right. All right. Let's check the solution. So Aryan, your
Okay.
solution is correct. Okay. Let me let me write it down. So I have declared a variable called factorial, and the type is integer, and I'm going to give some value to this variable. Again, I have declared a variable called output, that is integer or big int in nature. And in while, what I'm giving is while my factorial is greater than 0, greater than equals to 1, or greater than 1 will also do. Factorial is greater than 1. Okay. And here in the loop, what I'm doing is output equals to output
into at the rate.
factorial. And then I'm decreasing the value of factorial.
Minus 1.
And I'm performing a print current real value is convert convert convert
Okay.
right, and then after that I'm printing, no, it would be output, this is my piece of code. Okay, let's say the factorial of 6. Let's execute. 6 into 5 30, 30 into 4 120, 120 into 3 360, 360 into 2 720. Final factorial value is 720. So this is the code for finding the factorial. Let's say factorial of 8, right? Factorial of 2, factorial of 3, factorial of 4, factorial of 5. All right. So please go through this code and let me know if you guys have any questions. The logic we have used is factorial of 5 is equals to 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is the logic and this is the code. So within the code, we have used only the things that we have learned till now, nothing else. So let me go through the code. Okay. Declare the variable that we want to find, 5. And then we are declaring the output variable which will hold the temporary value and the final value. So I am assigning it to 1. Okay. Then factorial greater than 1. Why I haven't given greater than 0? Because if I want to find the factorial of 5, I can do multiplication till this. Multiplying with 1 will give you the same result. So I want the factorial value to 5, 4, 3, 2. That's it. 2 greater than 1, true. That's it. I don't want to see for 1 because multiplying with 1 will give you the same result. So factorial value till 2, that means till this. I want to iterate the loop because multiplying with 1 will have benefits, right? So that is why I have given this factorial greater than 1. I've done an update operation. Whatever the output value is 1, I'm going to multiply it with factorial. So 1 into 5, because factorial is 5, right? So 1 into 5 is 5. So it is showing 5. Then factorial value is becoming 4. Then 4 greater than 1, true. So 5 into 4, 20, printing this. Factorial value is becoming 3. 20 into 3 is becoming 60. 2. 60 into 2, 120. Factorial value is becoming 1. So for 1 greater than 1 is false, and my output variable is holding the current factorial value. So this is what we are printing. The final factorial value is this. And this is just for beautification. That's it. So is this clear to everyone?
Yeah, clear. I was almost right.
That's fair enough. You have tried, you were almost right. That's fair enough. So is it clear to everyone? Anyone is having any doubts? Please let me know. Guys, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So yes,
What
it's a bit
happens,
clear.
sir? What happens when we put while factorial equals to one? What factorial part, the while
Well,
loop, if it's equal to one,
then it will loop
equal.
for one more time. When factorial is 2, and then it will 2 greater than 1 will be true. Then for factorial equals to 1, it will be also true, right? So 1 greater than equals to 1, it will be true. So it will do this operation. What? 120 output is 120. 120 into 1, 120. So what is the point of multiplying 1 with the output? It will give the same output, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is why I don't want to include the last one, which is 1.
Okay.
All right, guys. So I'll put the class notes in the chat. Sorry, I'll put the class notes to Sanchita, and you can get the class notes. I'll request you guys to practice the commands, practice the scripts, okay? And if you guys face any problem, any challenge, any understanding issue, please let me know in the next class, because we are almost done with understanding. We're not done, but we are almost done or almost close to the commands that we need to learn, okay? And we are now going to manipulate with these commands, and we are going to work on implementing these commands in form of programs or in form of logics, okay? So it's a very important phase for you guys to make hands-on with all these codes. And now we are going to learn about the logics, okay? All right, thanks everyone.
Yes,
And
Yeah, I
yes,
have some query about regarding previous classes.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
sure,
was
tell me.
last 7, 8.
Yeah, tell me.
Can I share my screen if you don't mind?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Making you presenter.
Yeah, here I am executing this query. Look in SDB. I'm inserting this data in HR employee full name. So when I was inserting this, executing, it will it's saying that there is a fewer column in the statement that values are specified in the value clause.
So
What does it mean?
you have you have a table where you have three columns: ID, full name, designation. Okay. So you have a column HR dot employees where you have three columns. That means you already have the table created previously. But for this example, I have created the query, and the query or the table is created at the very beginning where the table is having only two columns, right? Mm,
Yeah,
no,
it's
not exactly. No, hold on. Uh, yeah, full name. Okay, sorry, my bad. You need to give after full name. You need to give full name, comma, designation. Give comma, then write designation. Yeah. Now execute the query.
yeah, for row affected. Okay. And the
Yeah.
last one, today one, I'm executing this one in adventure work. Uh, it was showing that there is a syntax error near end.
You have put end in quotes.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Should begin. The while structure is not correct. So in the while structure, you should start with begin and end with end. And in between, before the print statement, you have used begin command. So you should remove the begin command before the print statement. The second line, the second last line, second
This one.
last. Yeah, yeah. You should remove begin command there. Yeah. Now you can try to execute. Yeah. So
Print
instead of
data type
plus
worker is
operator,
invalid for
instead
the
of
model.
concat operator, you have used star operator or multiply operator. You need to use plus.
Oh,
All right. So now you are going into infinite loop. Please stop it. Click on the stop button. Now in the while loop, you are working on factorial variable, and now you are decreasing the output variable. So this is not correct. You need to decrease the factorial variable instead of output variable. So it should be factorial equals to factorial minus 1. Instead of that, you have
mm,
decreased the
yeah,
output
this
variable.
one.
Yes.
Set at the rate what output equal to output minus one. I have to write here
Set at the rate
factorial.
factorial equals to factorial minus 1. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I think we need lots
All
of
right.
practice.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch up tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you, sir.